Take you back to the story as we look at Minister of Basic Education Angie Mtshekga, who's expected to deliver the state of readiness for schools in anticipation of reopening on Monday. The academic calendar has been deferred on several occasions due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Some unions and stakeholders have highlighted the issue of a lack of PPEs, inadequate infrastructure, and a lack of preparedness by schools to reopen on Monday. Schools in the Eastern Cape have allegedly received little to no support, with some of these challenges relating to PPE and access to water. To give us more insight on the state of readiness in the Eastern Cape schools, a spokesperson for the MEC in that province, Vuyiseka Mtshekga. Vuyiseka, very good morning to you. Thank you for your time. We know that a third of Eastern Cape schools haven't received textbooks, while more than 600 of these schools have no principals, according to the information on a report. Are you confident that come Monday, schools will be back as normal?
Thank you very much, Mpho, and good morning to your listeners. Perhaps, Mpho, as you have just said in your narration, that there are unions that have said that there are schools to which they are not really ready across the country to reopen on Monday. Maybe important, there's a document that perhaps we can share with you that suggests that in terms of state of readiness, Eastern Cape is on number 3. A survey that has been conducted by the various unions that are within the education sector. And maybe I must preview you to this information that in terms of stationary delivery, we're at 94% at the time we're closing on Friday, something that continues to happen until late afternoon today. And on textbook, at the time we were receiving this report, which I know for a fact that it was presented in the Standing Committee on Tuesday last week, where it's 63%. And I must also confirm to you that on Friday, the acting SG of the department had a bit of a long meeting with the teacher unions in the province in preparation for the school opening tomorrow. And I can also confirm to you that today he will be having another last meeting that will be starting at 10 to give a last report to the leaders of learners, that is COSAS, and at 4 o'clock we'll be giving a last report to the Standing Committee in the legislature to give a state of readiness. And I must say, Mpho, in terms of provision of protective clothing to our own schools, the department last year did give a go-ahead to schools to procure the PPE on their own, and it also gave them a top-up funding so that those schools that do not have enough, they can have money spent by the provincial office to them as school to procure for PPE, something that will only be for the first quarter, and then in the second quarter, procurement of PPE for all our schools in the province will be done by the provincial office. So from where we're seated, we're convinced beyond reason that indeed we will be ready to open schools and will be ready to welcome our own teachers and learners. And lastly, we must take it out that it is not necessarily 600 teachers that have succumbed to COVID-19, that which needs to be replaced. In terms of the people that are participant in the education or else in schools, the total number for the province is 863. But out of that 863, it's 454, a number that needs to be replaced of teachers that have succumbed to COVID-19. And that number will be replaced by looking at the teachers that are accessing different schools in the province to be moved from school A to school B, and the others are going to be taken from those that have been given an opportunity to study a basic education degree by the Funza Lushaka, which is a bursar of the department, and the others that will be qualifying having been given money to study by their own parents. So in terms of replacing those that have succumbed to COVID-19, it's something that the department has long planned for it, and it's something that is within the ambit of the district, because it's mostly teachers that are in post-level 1, something that needs only the district to quickly facilitate that. And I'm sure in the last standing committee of today, the SG will be able to give a detailed reporting on that effect.
Okay, you sound very confident that it is indeed all systems go come Monday for the Eastern Cape, but you mentioned the concern with teachers. We're also learning of a concern that many schools are without a principal. How many of these schools have you recorded, and what's the plan of action?
That's important. Let's try to give this a clarity. There are schools that do not have principals, but they are deputy principals, they are HODs. And some of those, it's people that you will find that a person is in a claimed sick leave for more than a year. And some of those, you'll find that due to COVID-19 and their age, they decided to abruptly decide to leave the system. And it's something that then they must be advertised internally, and it's something that must be done with the teacher unions understanding what is actually happening. Because when a person is in a sick leave more than 6 months, it therefore means that the department must quickly subject that person to an independent health practitioner that is going to give a second thought on whether that person is fit enough to go back to school or is fit enough to go back to work. And it is a process that needed to be done. And I did say that some of those have just left the system in December, and some of those have left the system in the middle of the year, last year. So that's why I was saying that in terms of category, we've got teachers, in fact, principals that must be employed through the process of provincial department. And we've got the issue of teachers, which must then be employed through the whole process of district, because they are in post-level 1. So it's something that can be done within the ambit of the district. And on the one that it relates with our own principals, I know for a fact that some of those principals have submitted different information to say, this is our state now, department make a reconsideration of whatever that you were to take as a decision. So it's an ongoing process, but what I can tell you is that the instruction of the MEC is that that must happen within the law prescription, because it will be a robbing of taxpayers' money to have a person saying, I am sick, I can't be at school, but that person exceed the expected labor law period. So it's a process that will be finished even before the end of the first quarter, to put a close on it, and then after that to give the chance to those schools to have a proper principal. But what we know for a fact, they do have deputy principals, they do have HODs, and they do have SMTs.
Time, Vuyiseka. I'm not sure if I got much clarity from you regarding the issue of the big challenge of water shortages within some schools in your province. Just give us some clarity on that.
Okay. Last year, we gave a call to schools in the province to say, identify your water needs. And out of the total number of more than 5,000 schools in the Eastern Cape, the number that came back as schools that do not have even a water tank, it was 767. And all of those schools were given water through the support of Department of Water and Sanitation. And in the instance where there's a school where there's just a tank and there is no water, it is always advised that from the money of norms and standards that gets to be sent to schools, school principals have an authority over that money to say, we are going to take this amount of money and buy water, and then be able to provide water in those days for our own learners. Because at the end of the day, some of the water challenges, they relate with whether the jurisdiction wherein the school is in is able to have municipal connection. And if there is no municipal connection, there is a water tank, then the school has that authority to at least buy water, so that you don't have a school that does not have water. But 767 tanks were given to all schools that were identified by the district and district directors as schools that do not have water at all last year, and they were able to have water filled in their own tanks. So from where we're seated, the number of schools that needed water has been resolved, and those that do not have water at all can, out of the funds, money that is in their own schools, norms and funding, make provision of water.
And very lastly, before we let you go, what are some of your expectations as we look to Basic Education Minister Angie Mtshekga addressing the nation on school state of readiness?
There are two things that we can pin our hopes on. One would have put up a good fight in terms of making sure that we deliver a credible examination as the Eastern Cape, because we have not had leaks in the province. We have not had any incident that was outside what is expected. That's one. Two, we believe strongly that the rollout of the ICT in this province, which we did last year against many dissenting views, it is going to yield the positive results. And we are confident beyond a reasonable doubt that the class of 2020 is going to show many of us amazing results. And we are confident that the province is in a better pedestal. And we are sure that the province of the Eastern Cape will give many people a surprise.
Very well. Thank you so much for your time. We're going to have to leave it there.